Georgia adalah negara kecil yang terletak di persimpangan Eropa dan Asia. Negara pegunungan ini menjalin hubungan diplomatik dengan Indonesia pada tahun 1993. Bagaimana perjalanan transformasi demokrasi dan ekonomi Georgia? Seperti apa kemitraan yang telah dinikmati Indonesia dan Georgia? Serta pencapaian-pencapaian akan kita saksikan pada tahun-tahun mendatang? Halo pemirsa, Anda menyaksikan International Corner. Bersama saya, Grazia Simanjuntak. Pemirsa, pada episode kali ini, saya akan berbincang dengan Duta Besar Georgia untuk Indonesia, His Excellency Tornike Nozadze. Welcome to International Corner, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and thank Antara for showing the interest. And let me also thank your readers and viewers who will watch this interview and hopefully will know a little bit more about a wonderful country of Georgia and our friendly cooperation with Indonesia.
We are very honored to have you with us today, so thank you for making the time.
Thank you.
How are you doing, Mr. Ambassador?
Very well. Thank you very much. How about you?
Very good. So that's good to hear because considering the important issues that we are going to dive into today. So let's get started.
Let's do it.
Georgia celebrates its National Day on May 26, right? Marking the Declaration of Independence in 1980. So what does this historic day mean for the Georgian people today? And particularly in shaping the country's modern national identity and democratic aspirations?
Thank you for the question. First of all, let me say that Georgia is one of the oldest countries in the world. We mark more than 2,000 years of statehood history. Mm-hmm. And independence and sovereignty is part of the national identity of Georgia. You can imagine that during the entire history of Georgia, a lot of battles were fought to regain again and again the sovereignty and independence. Indeed, we celebrate today on 26th of May the independence of Georgia, which is not just mere celebration of holiday. It's part of the unity of Georgian people. It's part of the identity of Georgian people. It marks the soul of the nation for its fight for freedom, for its fight for its sovereignty, for its identity, its unique culture, unique language, unique traditions. So indeed, it is a very important day for Georgia, and we celebrate that day together with all our international friends and partners.
These foundational national ideals are currently being tested. So over the years, Georgia has undergone a significant political and institutional debates regarding democratic reforms and governance. How does the government view this development? And what steps are being taken to strengthen the democratic aspirations?
Indeed, in modern day world, we are seeing the reshaping of not only global politics, but also the internal politics of each and every country. I'm glad to say that during last few decades, Georgia managed to strengthen its democratic institutions, strengthen its economic development, and strengthen its ties with its international partners. We have put in place the structure of the government, which by many international surveys, by international organizations, are marked within first 5 or first 10 in the world, for example. By government procurement transparency, Georgia is one of the top countries, which means that we managed to eliminate, almost eradicate the corruption. Georgia has been ranked by the World Bank, for example, top 5 country for last decade or more for ease of doing business, which means that we have legislation in place which is not only friendly for its domestic population, but also for international investors and partners. All of that, and on top of that, removing the bureaucratic barriers to politics and economy, marked its results in current statistics. I mean, Georgia had one of the highest economic growth in the last decade, not only in the region, but in the world. We've been clocking double digits in economic growth for the last few years, which is very challenging, you would agree, especially in the war-torn regions such as ours at the moment. But I would also like to mention that we have that kind of development also due to our geopolitical location and using that to our benefit. Georgia is part of the so-called middle corridor, which means that we are connecting pretty much Europe and Asia, be that with flight infrastructure, road infrastructure, railway infrastructure, or ports on the Black Sea.
Okay, moving from those internal developments to Georgia's European Union aspirations. Georgia received candidate status for EU membership in 2023, right? But the process has faced challenges. Now, from your perspective, what is the current direction of Georgia's European integration journey, Mr. Ambassador?
Thank you for your question. It's a very interesting process, first and foremost, and I myself had the privilege to be part of most of the stages up to a couple of years in Georgia's European integration process, including the negotiation and association agreement between Georgia and the European Union. First of all, let me state that Georgia has always been part of Europe, European identity and European culture. And Georgia wants to return and take its rightful place among the European nations. And that's why we strive to become a member of the European Union. We have our path. Indeed, we did receive, and Georgia was granted the candidate status back in 23. But before that was the association agreement. Before that was free and comprehensive free trade agreement. And we also have visa-free movement with the European Union. All of that prepares Georgia's path to adhere to what we call EU acquis, EU legislation, which you need to be aligned almost 100% in order to become EU member state. Now, let me say that the whole process is very challenging. It's very demanding, both on legislative level and economic level, because some of the legislative acts which government has to adopt according to the association agreement are, let me straightforward say, painful to some people, even economically. But we chose that path, and step by step we are following our goal, and I am very sure when the next round of enlargement comes, Georgia will be one of the most prepared members, candidate members for the joining of the Union.
Okay, yeah, very challenging. Mr. Ambassador, Georgia often presents itself as a bridge between Europe and Asia. However, geographically or geopolitically, the region is becoming increasingly competitive. the question now. How does Georgia avoid being caught in the middle of larger geopolitical rivalries?
I often say that geographical location sometimes might be a blessing, and sometimes it can be a curse. And that proved to be right for Georgia both ways, many, many times over through millennia of our history. Obviously, our geopolitical location, being part of the middle corridor, connecting Europe and Asia, connecting North and South, attracts a lot of interest from many other countries as well who want to benefit from that. But primarily, of course, Georgia, its government and its people are beneficiaries of that. We see our role as mediators, as path for peaceful trade, as place to mediate conflicts all around us, which Georgia proved to be already very effective, being a mediator with its neighbors or for the neighbors. And we want to keep it that way. We want to be very pragmatic on international scene, which incorporates obviously defending the national interests and sovereignty of the country. Especially now when we are seeing kind of, how would I put that into most diplomatic way, reconstruction of the security architecture in the world.
Okay.
Where again, for all the other countries, the national interest is the basis of their both foreign and domestic policies. And Georgia is not exception from that point of view. Every step Georgia takes on the international scene and every reform Georgia undertakes within the country serves solely the purpose of national interests.
Last question for this first segment. Looking ahead, what are Georgia's main national priorities over the next decades to secure long-term political and economic stability?
Very challenging question, because it's very hard to predict in our turmoil-full world what's going to happen in 10 years. But what I wish to see, and I'm pretty sure every patriot of the country would like to see, is prosperous homeland. Would like to see Georgia more prosperous, stronger, both internally and externally on international scene. And we will do our best together with our international partners to achieve this goal.
Mr. Ambassador, we have touched upon the Georgia's domestic reforms and its path toward European integration. However, Georgia is also actively expanding its footprint in Southeast Asia, right? This leads us to our next segment, the evolving bilateral partnership between Georgia and Indonesia.
Indeed.
Pemirsa, International Corner akan segera kembali. A program that brings the world to your screen through insightful dialogues, exploring various issues with international figures. How do you view this?
It gives more visibility to Indonesia in France,
revealing various facts regarding bilateral, regional, and multilateral cooperation in numerous sectors. Welcome back, Mr. Ambassador, to our second segment.
I'm Grazia Simajuntak, the producer and host.
And I'm your host, Arya Sidiara. Join us on International Corner.
Obrolan seputar isu paling hangat jangan dengar dari sembarang sumber.
Di sini, podcast yang mengundang narasumber pakar dan ahli terpercaya.
Podcast Antara on the record, podcast Antara close up.
Simak ya, hanya di
antaranews.com/video dan YouTube AntaraTV Indonesia.
Jadilah yang lebih dulu dalam menerima informasi yang tengah menjadi perbincangan di jagat publik.
Sebelumnya, Mary Jane sudah mengajukan gerasi, namun ditolak.
Kami sajikan dengan narasi dan infografis yang mudah dicerna oleh halayak. Desain mengotak dengan streamline-nya membuatnya tampak gahar sekaligus elegan.
Saksikan hanya di Perantara, tayang setiap hari Minggu di portal antaranews.com.
Dan setiap hari Senin di kanal YouTube AntaraTV Indonesia.
Pastikan tidak ketinggalan setiap episodenya.
Anda kembali menyaksikan International Corner bersama Duta Besar Georgia untuk Indonesia, His Excellency Tornike Nozadze. Mr. Ambassador, let us touch on the Georgia-Indonesia bilateral relations. Indonesia and Georgia established diplomatic relations more than 2 decades ago. How do you view the current state of bilateral relations between our two countries?
In one word, it's excellent.
Excellent.
But let me elaborate more.
Okay.
Indeed, we have established diplomatic relations in more than 2 decades ago. So we've been building up steadily our partnership and I would say friendship. Georgia views Indonesia as its very valuable partner in Southeast Asia, as a very strong voice in the region, in ASEAN, and very valuable partner, not only politically, but in terms of trade, in terms of cultural exchange, in terms of tourism, and so on and so forth. So despite the distance between the two countries, we share a lot of common principles in everyday life, such as family values, such as respect towards our sovereignty, such as respect towards our future. So not only we view Indonesia as our current strong partner and friend, but we also are sure that it will be even stronger in the future.
Can you please elaborate on that trade between our two countries? While our diplomatic foundation is solid, what concrete breakthroughs are needed to move the relationship, the partnership, the friendship beyond diplomacy or symbolic diplomacy?
Right. As the saying goes, there is always a room for improvement. Yeah. Again, the challenges about the distance makes increasing the trade turnover between our countries a little bit challenging. But during the last few years, we've been very active in bringing Indonesian and Georgian businesses together, in raising the awareness about each other. Because Georgia, again, let me repeat myself, being kind of an economic hub in the region and transport hub in the region, also bearing in mind that Georgia has free trade agreements with all the key partners in the region, represents a very good foothold for Indonesia in our region. And I would say vice versa as well. That's why we've been very active with Indonesian Kadin. We've recently established joint bilateral committee, Indonesia-Georgian Committee in Kadin. And we are hoping, together with the Kadin management, to hold joint event in the nearest future where we will bring businessmen from both countries on B2B format. And then businesses do what they do best. They do business.
Yeah.
On top of that, Embassy has been having very active consultations with KEMLO and also Ministry of Trade regarding the possibility to start consultations on bilateral free trade agreements. I hope these consultations will be successful and we can make a giant step forward and sign the free trade agreement, which will allow our goods and services to move around free of tax, and which will allow Georgian businessmen to easier establish their businesses in Indonesia and Indonesian businessmen to establish their businesses in Georgia.
To reach that economic potential, we must address infrastructure and logistics to facilitate growth. Georgia is strategically, like you mentioned, becoming increasingly or located along emerging Eurasian transport corridors connecting Europe and Asia. How could Indonesia benefit from closer connectivity with Georgia as a gateway to Caucasus and European markets?
Indeed, it can. It can enormously benefit with that, as I mentioned before, having a foothold in Georgia. Let me give you some statistics. Georgia clocked more than 9 million visitors last year, and that's the country of 4 million. That's pretty much size of population of Kuningan area, right?
Yeah.
And we managed to receive 9 million. Not only we are not expecting its decrease, but we are expecting the increase of number of tourists. That's why Georgia is building 5th biggest now international airports in the country, because the existing 4 cannot accommodate the number of visitors. On top of that, we've been, especially the last decade, building road infrastructure and railway infrastructure to facilitate movement of goods, as you rightfully mentioned, becoming a gateway from Asia to Europe and vice versa. But also, most importantly, we started building 3rd port on the Black Sea, which will be one of the deepest ports, and that's very important in terms of receiving high tonnage cargo ships in Georgia, and which will allow us to increase the inflow and outflow of goods in and out Georgia. Coming back to your question, again, to sum up, Georgia can and should become very strong foothold for Indonesian businesses to open the gates to Europe. And I believe, together with the Indonesian government, we will manage to do that in coming years.
So Indonesia will for sure benefit from that, yeah?
Absolutely.
For sure. Okay. Connectivity is, of course, it's not just about goods and cargo. It is also about the movement of people. People-to-people contact is becoming increasingly significant in strengthening relations between countries. Are there any ongoing initiatives aimed at strengthening cultural exchange, educational collaboration, or tourism between Georgia and Indonesia, particularly considering that Georgia offers a visa on arrival facilities for Indonesian citizens?
Yes, currently we have similar visa regime. It's called electronic visa. It works the other way around for Georgian citizens as well. It's pretty much very straightforward process. You are absolutely right. People-to-people contacts are becoming, and have always, to be truthful, very important in terms of the relations between the countries. Again, despite the distance, we find a lot of similarities to our nations. Even our food share the similarities. Georgian food is also not only very rich in spices, but it's also spicy. So a lot of Indonesian friends who are traveling to Georgia, they are loving the Georgian food, and then vice versa. Again, Georgians who travel to Indonesia, they say, well, we didn't feel much difference. It's very delicious, and they all expressed their wish to come back, which is, again, a very solid base to develop people-to-people contacts. But not only that, the cultural exchange, the cooperation between regions. Recently, the city of Sukabumi hosted diplomatic forum where a number of ambassadors, including yours truly, was attended. So let me use this opportunity to express my gratitude to the government of Sukabumi for hosting us and having very fruitful meetings and devising the plans to, one of the plan is to make Sukabumi a sister city to one of the Georgian cities.
Okay.
So on every and any level possible, we are very active to bring people together. I myself am very active not only through line of my work, but also with students, for example. In various universities, I try to increase the awareness of students about Georgia because, again, 3 or 6 months of student exchange will give more information to that student and surrounding people than just reading any article or watching any interview. So we are also working in the sphere of education to increase the numbers of exchange students. And I believe that will become good basis for future younger generation cooperation.
Lastly, Mr. Ambassador, beyond these bilateral ties in the context of Indonesia's growing role in the Indo-Pacific region, how does Georgia view cooperation with Southeast Asia and ASEAN?
Our embassy is also represented to ASEAN, so I represent my country to ASEAN as well, and as one of the strongest voices in ASEAN, and one of the strongest voices in the region as a whole. We strive to strengthen our cooperation with Indonesia on all levels, be that political, economic, trade, cultural, or people-to-people contacts. Because I believe that international relations and cooperation between the countries are not so different between cooperations between people, two individuals.
Oh, how so?
Because more friendly relations are between two individuals, better outcome you're going to have from the relations. And same applies to the countries.
Well, it is clear that the potential for cooperation is significant, Mr. Ambassador, and we look forward to seeing how this bilateral ties evolve.
Looking forward to that too.
Yeah, Mr. Ambassador, our discussion is getting more interesting. We will return and shift our focus to regional and global issues. Pemirsa, kami akan kembali segmen berikutnya. A program that brings the world to your screen through insightful dialogues, exploring various issues with international figures. How do you view this?
It gives more visibility to Indonesia in France.
Revealing various facts regarding bilateral, regional, and multilateral cooperation in numerous sectors. Welcome back, Mr. Ambassador, to our second segment.
I'm Grazia Simajuntak, the producer and host.
And I'm your host, Arya Sidiara. Join us on International Corner.
Halo pecinta sepak bola Indonesia. Tahu nggak, di 1952 ada Tony Pogasnik, warga negara Yugoslavia yang harus lewati lobi politik dulu untuk latih timnas Indonesia. Nah, itu baru satu fakta. Masih banyak lagi hal seru dan fakta menarik tentang sejarah dan sosok-sosok penting sepak bola di tanah air. Saksikan hanya di Sport Antara.
menjadikan fakta yang belum pernah terungkap. Nusantara Beat adalah grup musik berbasis di Amsterdam dengan akar budaya Indonesia yang kuat.
Mengulas segala hal yang berkaitan dengan musik secara mendalam dan informatif. Kedekatan Kurt Cobain dengan The Fazlins tak hanya sampai di situ. Nama depan putih Kurt diambil dari nama personil The Fazlins, Francis McKay.
Ngobrol santai dan menyaksikan penampilan apik musisi favorit.
Saksikan hanya di AntaraTV.
Anda kembali menyaksikan International Corner bersama Duta Besar Georgia untuk Indonesia, His Excellency Tornike Nozadze. Mr. Ambassador, in this final segment, we will discuss matters that are occurring at the both regional and global levels. The war in Ukraine has a significantly reshaped geopolitically dynamics across Europe and Asia, or Eurasia. How has the conflict affected Georgia's security outlook and foreign policy priorities?
Very good question. First of all, let me say that war between Russia and Ukraine changed not only Georgian outlook towards its security and international policies, but also, I'm not afraid to say, entire world's policies. Because I believe that triggered set of events which changed entire architecture, security architecture, not only on the European continent, but in the global world. Georgia is not an exception to conflicts and aggression. 20% of the Georgian territory is still occupied by our northern neighbor, Russia. The last war was fought in 2008. So we will and are supporting Ukraine by every and any means. But we are supporters of the peaceful resolution of any and every conflict. And we believe that even 100-year wars end in negotiation and in peaceful solution. So first of all, let me say that we wish this conflict to end soon. And the human suffering and sacrifice to end soon. As to your question, coming back to our internal security outlook and external policies, of course, it's nothing new to us. All these conflicts will end at the negotiation table, and so sooner it ends, less victims it will claim. But it shaped our policy in the way that we once again came to the strong conclusion that there is no alternative to the peaceful resolution, including Georgian-Russian conflict. We came to once again to the strong conclusion that there is no alternative to countries' defense capabilities. In that way, Georgia has been aligning itself to be very trustworthy partner to the NATO. May I remind that Georgia is also aspirant country for the NATO membership. And there is no alternative to table negotiations. So from that point of view, not only we are ready to take first steps towards conflict resolution, meaning Georgian conflict resolution, but we are also ready to mediate with our partners and neighbors any and every step which will help to end this conflict.
Ambassador Nozadze, on that topic, Georgia continues to navigate complex relations with Russia while also maintaining strong aspirations for Euro-Atlantic integration. How does the government manage this delicate strategic balance?
Very good question. And you are absolutely right. The relations are very complex. Obviously, we have our history of conflict, and international society has very strong support towards Georgian sovereignty and territorial integrity. We are 100% for peaceful resolution of our conflict with Russia and returning those occupied regions under the Georgian jurisdiction, but again, doing that through the peaceful means. We are indeed having very strong Euro-Atlantic aspirations, and our path lies towards that. But that doesn't mean that we are refusing any and every cooperation with our international partners, especially when it comes to our region here in Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
And our good cooperation, especially with Indonesia, gives us very good hope that building the bridges between the nations will help in the future to avoid any such complication with the neighbors, and will help to develop prosperous relations between the nations.
Shifting our focus to recent debates in Europe regarding democratic governance and EU enlargement have also involved Georgia. How do you see the future of EU-Georgia relations in the coming years, Mr. Ambassador?
First of all, let me say that Georgia is and has been and is very strong partner to the European Union, very trustworthy partner to the European Union. Be that on a political arena or economic arena. We have our blueprint, so to speak, which is called Association Agreement between European Union and Georgia. And Georgia has been following that path very strongly.
Yeah.
By the time the next enlargement round takes place, I strongly believe that Georgia will be one of the best prepared countries for the Union membership.
Beyond politics, Mr. Ambassador, geography offers a new or economic opportunities, right? The South Caucasus is becoming increasingly important for energy routes and transport corridors linking Europe and Asia. At the same time, global energy supplies remain highly dependent on choke points, such as the Strait of Hormuz near Iran. Now, in this context, what role does Georgia see for itself in strengthening alternative connectivity and, say, regional stability?
Recently in international literature, I think one word is becoming most famous, and that's diversification.
Diversification.
Because you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. I think Georgia is offering very good alternative. Has been offering, is offering, and will be offering in terms of diversification. Right now, through our country, we have both oil and gas pipelines through the Caspian Basin, which flows towards Europe. So if we are talking about energy, hydrocarbons in particular, Georgia is offering a very good alternative to Europe and the rest of the world to existing situation. Of course, it can't be 100% replacement. It's impossible.
Yeah, true.
But because there are difficulties in logistics currently, including the Hormuz Strait, I think Georgia will become even more key country in terms of transporting hydrocarbons and other energy forms throughout the world, together with its neighbors Azerbaijan and Armenia. Just to prove my point, let me also mention that there is a very important project underway right now in Georgia, which is a joint EU-Georgian project which will lay the high voltage cable on the Black Sea basin, going through Georgia to the rest of the Europe.
Wow.
Offering clean energy and and electricity to our partners and neighbors. So yes, Georgia is and will be increasingly more a key country for that very famous word, diversification.
Lastly, Ambassador Nozadze, at a time when global politics appear increasingly fragmented, what kind of international partnerships does Georgia prioritize, especially with countries outside its traditional Western alliances?
Any partnership which is based on mutual respect, respect on sovereignty, respect on territorial integrity, cooperation on international fora, in international organizations. And once again, I'm very glad to say that Indonesia is one of the countries where we have all of that. And we wish to maintain and strengthen this partnership and friendship between our two nations.
Wow, Ambassador Nozadze, that concludes our discussion. And thank you so much for your valuable insights today.
Thank you once again, and thank you, Antara, for its interests. And thank you for all your viewers and listeners.
We're certainly looking forward to seeing how these developments unfold in the future, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you.
Pemirsa, demikian perbincangan International Corner dengan Duta Besar Georgia untuk Indonesia, His Excellency Tornike Nozadze. Sampai jumpa di International Corner episode berikutnya.